Howdy folks, Cuerv here. It's late. Oh goodness, it's 2 in the morning after Thanksgiving, and after everybody packed in and went to bed or went home, I stayed up because something had gotten under my skin. You see, I have family members and friends who are sort of Catholic or formerly Catholic, who are conflicted about the issue of their Catholicism, and this is in no small part due to some of the things that the Catholic Church is doing these days. And it's interesting, November, this month, has been a very interesting month for the Catholic Church. And I'm thinking of 3 things in particular that have happened recently, and I will link to articles in the sidebar. The first thing that happened that kind of caught my eye, and this may have been on like on the Pharyngula blog or something like that. This is the ultimatum that the Catholic Church gave to, let's see, this was in the Catholic Archdiocese of Washington. This was where they basically came out and said that they are going to stop basically giving out social services. They're going to stop charity in the Archdiocese of Washington if a same-sex marriage amendment passes or something like that. And I have an issue with this because charity is a part of the Catholic Catechism, right? It's a part of being a Catholic, and if the Church as an institution, as an organization, wants to come out and say we're not going to be charitable anymore, well, first of all, fuck you, because you're tax exempt. But second, and more importantly, the individual members of the Catholic Church still are impelled by their religious beliefs to be charitable, and I don't have a problem with this. Is their church actually going to stifle them by no longer providing a vehicle for their charitable intentions? What then? I mean, this seems counterintuitive, counterproductive. It seems like it's going to drive Catholics away. Not that I really care, because I don't really have much love for the church, but come on now, just doesn't make any sense. The second thing that went down is this this business with Patrick Kennedy. Now, Patrick Kennedy is a congressman, a representative of Rhode Island, and he was, let's see, the bishop's name was Tobin, I believe, was his bishop, and Bishop Tobin has denied Patrick Kennedy the right to take communion, so long as Patrick Kennedy continues to have a pro-abortion stance. Now, that's really scary to me, because there's an obvious church and state issue there, and it raises the issue that if Patrick Kennedy allows himself to be swayed by this bishop's refusal to allow him to take communion, which is a punitive action, then that basically compromises, in effect, the effectiveness of all Catholic politicians. Because if this tactic works with one politician, and if it then becomes the MO of the church to use this tactic on all politicians, then are all Catholic politicians thereby compromised? I certainly hope not. Now, John F. Kennedy said a lot about the separation of church and state, and he himself was a Catholic, so all hope is not lost. But I think that this is a very bad move on the part of the Catholic Church. Bad move. And then finally, let me see what we got here. Oh yes, this just came out a couple of days ago. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops released a directive this month. Basically, it says that in all Catholic medical facilities, they are now no longer, if I'm understanding this correctly, now no longer allowed to pull out feeding tubes for people in persistent vegetative states. Basically, if you are permanently unconscious but you're not actually dying, they can't pull the plug. And the idea, the selling point behind this is that, at least this is what the article says, is that the suffering that a person endures brings them closer to Christ. Yeah, so so that's kind of fucked up. But aside from just the surface issue of the whole suffering thing, which is just cosmically bizarre to me, let's take a look at and think real quickly about what it means that an organization of theologians are handing down medical advice, are setting medical policy, and are overriding the lawful wishes of individuals whom tragedy befalls. It's not right, and it's not okay. The church has no business mandating medical practices. I mean, I suppose if they want to keep with their exorcisms, that's fine. That's in the domain of the church. But when it comes to my body, it's between me and my doctor. And this is a problem because there are some areas in which the Catholic Church basically has regional monopolies on medical care. There are some places where the only hospitals are Catholic hospitals. And in those hospitals, it is now against policy to pull the plug if that's the patient's wish, even if that's the patient's wish. So so there's that. So in response to all of this happening within the month of November here, and the reaction to all of these things that my family has had, which has been very interesting to see and to discuss with them, I have written a letter to the Archbishop of Seattle, and I'm not going to read it or post it online at this point, but I've written a letter. I just printed it out. It's sitting in my printer tray. I'm going to put it in an envelope and stick it in the mailbox tomorrow, basically outlining the issues that I've just discussed, obviously in much cleaner and more formal language, and respectfully, because I really do hope to get a respectful response, and I really am interested in seeing what the Archbishop has to say about these issues, and perhaps even what the official church stance is on some of these issues. Because, for instance, in the case of Bishop Tobin, he was making a decision based in his own autonomy in his diocese, and I want to know how that reflects upon the rest of the church, and does that then inform decisions made by the rest of the church in other areas. So these are things that I'm interested in and curious about. If I get any kind of a response back from the Archbishop that is interesting at all, and if there are bits of it that I can share, I will definitely try to share them with you. In the meantime, please feel free to, I'm opening up the comment section on this video to discuss this issue. If you are a Catholic and you're in favor of these decisions, or if you're a Catholic and you're opposed to these decisions, or if you are a non-believer or a non-Catholic, and just in general.